I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101, and I'm glad that you came and wanted to talk with me today. And I'm very happy to talk with you. Of course, as I said, there will be no charge, and the only stipulation is that you let me do a generic video so that everybody that ever watches this can learn and grow, and hopefully you as well, and be touched and helped. And I'll stay with you as long as I need to. You let me know back. And all I have to go on is a letter that you've written. And I asked you to get back with me and let me know your age, but the letter sounded pretty serious, and I wanted to go ahead and get started ahead of time, hoping that whenever you came back, I'd already have something prepared for you. Because when someone reaches out, I want to stop what I'm doing and do whatever I can to be all about giving whatever I have to that person. Now, I may miss the mark, and we may need a number of times talking to one another to really get exactly to where you want to be, but there's a lot of things I can already say about you based on just the fact that you wrote in, the fact that you care, the fact that you came in at a time in my life when I really, really needed you to come in. Now, I don't know how much of a fantasy type of believer you are, a religious type of believer you are, or a spirituality type of person you are. I don't know whether you believe any kind of hocus pocus things like nonsense that some people might dismiss away, but I'm going to talk about myself so that I can help you, because the things I know about myself are real. And if I share them and there's any benefit from what I talk about myself, then I know that what I'm offering is the best thing I could possibly offer. And I was at a point just recently, in fact, even today, until you wrote in, that I was saying to myself, I've gotten to a point in my life where I've got to make some decisions. And I may write off what I'm trying to do as being something that isn't worth doing. A long time ago, I kind of wrote off my family because they didn't understand who I was. I mean, I'm sure they love me and things like that, like families do. But I don't think they're really ever going to be supportive. So I wrote off the idea that anything I did would ever require their support in order to move ahead with it. And recently I've engaged friends and acquaintances, and so far, really to no avail have I gotten too much support from them as well. So I'm about ready to write that off also, as far as at least where I can help guide my course based on what they do to help me. So I'm talking to you from a place that I call it a narrow road, and I'm talking to you from a place that's very difficult. So I can use my difficulties to hopefully help you. Because if I'm grappling with something that's very hard, and you're grappling with something very hard, my hope is to show you what I've done and how I use perspective counseling to deal with my difficulties so that you can then use that for yours. So I'm going to talk to you about me, and I want you to try to take some of these things and apply it to what your situation is. I have a situation where I wouldn't say the things that you've said. I'm going to read a little bit from this so people that are watching this can also benefit. I hate admitting this because I know it's me who's causing all the havoc in my life. But my life's falling apart rapidly, and I don't know how to take control of it. I feel like I have subconsciously seeked out anything negative in very subtle ways that impacts my life tremendously. And that I'm consciously seeing this happen, but do nothing to stop it. It's very hard to deal with, and most don't understand. So I'm constantly in a battle of wanting to do good in the worst way possible, and I just don't know. My life has always been shit, and luck wasn't really on my side. But I had a vision or dream, per se, that stemmed from being tired and being stuck in between a hard place and a rock, and I was doing what I was able to do to help myself and my mom get by. Had plans, big plans. Then she died in February, and my life has gone to shit. I took all my resources and shoved them down the drain, essentially making my life even more difficult in an effort to forget. And forgetting is the last thing I'm getting. I was supposed to turn myself in last night. I didn't make it in time, so I've been up all night anxious and worried. Just thinking about senseless crap. And every once in a while I hear myself say in my head, "You need help, you fucking loser." But I normally just ignore it and occupy my mind in some way or another, and just can't do that anymore. I'm going to be turning myself in a couple of hours when the courts open, and I'm a nervous wreck and I need some real help, and I'm severely lacking the funds and resources to barely get my dogs fed, let alone pay someone for a type of therapy. And being a loner type due to people and their lack of intelligence and or selfish ways is only bringing me down further. I'm afraid I only have so many more chances in life before I eventually am worthless, and I'm just too lost to find my way again. Thanks, guys. Even if I don't get a response, thanks for letting me vent. I love how you said, "Thanks, guys." This is going to be the segue into what I'm talking about. Believe it or not, as much as you might think somebody like me has my life on course, as much as my vices and problems that I can even talk about that I think I have might number less than 5, you just hit on one of the biggest things. I'm trying as hard as I can to have the most significant people in my life help and see what I'm seeing. And I can't even do that. It's the biggest struggle of my life. It's totally different than yours. I mean, I wouldn't call my life a failure. But what I want to do, I can't even do, because I can't bring even those people in my life that are the closest to me and have known me in my whole life. I can't even bring them together to equate to what you said. Guys. There's no guys. I hope there's going to be guys, but there's no guys yet. There's just me. The reason I asked for guys is because I will get counseling people come to me and I will be glad to help. And I do. But I know there's so many people out there like you that would like to talk. I don't know how to reach them in this complex world. You said here that you know it's you causing this. And you mentioned that you didn't want to reach out for help. Why? Because you knew you couldn't pay. And it's hard to find. And you said that you're a loner and you don't have friends. I don't charge. I don't advertise. My videos don't monetize. My point of view is that if I were charging for something that someone would need and they didn't partake of it because they thought they couldn't, part of that would be on me. So what I want to do more than anything is talk with you and help you. But I want to show out of my own hurt and my own pain so that what I give is genuine, and you can use those perspective counseling tools for your own situation that I don't even fully know what it is yet. I can speak directly to you when I know more, and I will. But I don't know what it is yet. I only know that right now you're probably trying to evaluate, can this guy talk with me? Can this guy help me? My way of showing you that I can help you is that I was so reaching the end of my rope. All I wanted to do was have my life be about helping people. And I could not find another person that could help me to do that hasn't already compromised themselves and their ways that they do things. Even if I go on and look for videos and such on YouTube or different places, they don't even subscribe to what I subscribe to. They're already locked down receiving payer ads. I can't even find someone that's on the level of me that just puts themselves out there. So you'd think, well, that's good. Thanks, I appreciate that. I got somebody to talk to that cares about me. Yes, you do. You'd think that people would be knocking down my doors. The phone rang, so I had to answer it because it canceled the video. I thought it might even be you. I usually don't answer the phone. But in case you knew my number and you wanted to talk personally, I answered it. But no, it was just a robocall. So I got distracted there. Okay, I was saying, you'd think people would be beating down my doors. But I think you said it here. Okay, you had said you don't have the resources, you're lacking funds and resources to get the dogs fed, let alone pay for someone to have that type of therapy. So it sounds like, oh gosh, you found somebody that would listen. There's no cost. You probably said, I bet there is some kind of catch or something. No, there's not a catch. What I do is I offer perspective counseling. And I use my own perspectives because I've gained wisdom and insight and heightened consciousness through using my own perspectives to help myself. And I'm going to share how I do that so that you can use those perspectives to help yourself. First off, I'll get back to what I was saying. You'd look at me and you'd say, you don't have anything wrong with him. You'd look and say, oh, you got everything in balance, everything's fine. But you'd be wrong. Because I live in a life where I know what I can do. And I can't find a way to do it. That's my problem. I am trying so hard to help. And I know there's so many that need help. And I can't figure out how without compromise. There's companies that do it. There's licensing. There's religious organizations. But my point of view is that so many of them are already crippled and ailing and failing because they aren't allowing themselves to be there for the person without charging them. And so they're cutting people off. So right off the bat, it's a huge strike on the part of anybody that I might align myself with. So I don't want to align myself. I'm right there for you. But here's the thing. I'm about ready sometimes to give up. I have to use my own perspective counseling on myself just so that I can keep going another day, hoping that there'd be another chance to help somebody. Because that is how few people actually ask. There's times when there's lulls, when there isn't anybody. And it's during times like those that most recently I've reached out to people saying, guys, instead of just waiting to be found and helping the few people that find me, I want to go out there and actively try to be found so that more people will find and I can help more. And the people that I reach out to, they're not helping. So that's why I thought it was funny you said guys. So far, that network that I'm trying to create, they're not coming together. There's not the cohesion that I'd like to have. Really kind of surprising. And because I reached out to the most close people in my life, and they're still missing the mark, it shows you what a narrow road I'm on. It shows you how rare where I'm at is, and how lonely it is. And you called yourself a loner. Imagine if you couldn't relate to even the people right in front of you in a way that they could be there for you. I don't think you have to imagine very hard. Judging from the words you used, you get it. Guess what? I share those things with you. Now, my life, if I wrote a letter about my discontent with things that are going on in my life, it totally looked different than yours. But because of my conscious understanding of what my troubles are, it might still sound very difficult. It might still sound very bad. But you'd look at it and say, what's wrong with that? You have a hard time finding other people that see what you're talking about? So what? Look at my problems are way worse than that. But not to me. My problems are just as bad. Because my problems cannot be resolved but through perspective change. Because I can't fix them, and the people in my life won't help me to fix them. So the only thing I'm left with is perspective counseling. I have to change a perspective. And I was at a low when you called, and I said, oh, maybe I'm just aiming too high. Maybe there's no reason for me to do this. Maybe I should look at something else. And then you asked for help. Let me tell you why that's significant. It's not random. First off, I want you to know that you're already valuable to another person, me. And I do this video in this way so that I know through my ability to help, I can make you valuable to others. So you've already done good just by reaching out. And I'll see that that happens. Don't worry. If I don't even hear back from you, I'll see that that happens. And that'll be accredited to you. You might not understand that right now. But believe me, I'll make sure that it happens. And I do that because I believe that I'd want someone to do that for me. And so I'll make sure that it's done for you and your namesake at least. If we don't even have a relationship and don't continue this talking anymore, I will still do that for you. Rest assured. You said you were going to turn yourself in. You're not very clear on that. Sounds like you might be in trouble. I may not hear back from you. I don't know. But if I don't, we're going to pursue this type of a problem relationship so that if anybody else has it, they can benefit. And you will have initiated that spark, even if for some reason you don't get back with me. But I want you to understand that if I were to write out the deep plaguing things that are on my conscience, my letter wouldn't to you or many people look bad, but it would be bad. And it's only bad because I realize what I'm capable of and what I should be doing, and I'm coming up as a loss as to how to do it more effectively with more people. So to me, my letter would look as bad as yours. No one else, maybe. I say, this guy's got together, that's all he's got to complain about? To whom much is given, much is expected. There's like only 5 things in the world that I can tell you that I don't have an answer about. That's kind of strange, right? You came along at a time that I was struggling with one of them. I already said I wrote off my family from ever understanding or trying to help. I'm getting ready to write off those that are closest to my life. What does that mean? That means I'm an island. I'm taking a chance that what I believe and I stand for and live for is worthwhile. It's worth giving up everything else in order to have it be the central focus. I'm taking that chance. And it's not panning out, or looks like it's not panning out. So I could say what you say. I don't use expletives, but I'm using them for the sake of discussion with you so we can identify. I could say, my life has gone to shit. In fact, let me read this letter over again as if I were saying it. And let me paraphrase as if it was my letter to show you how much I can identify through the perspective counseling shift perspectives that I can use as an artist. As an artist that works with clay or sculpture or stone or paints or photography, I have the ability to analyze and change perspectives so that I can portray something in a different way for someone so that they can see what I see. That's my goal. I've not been able to do that for others that I'm aware of or that have made me aware of it, that are most close in my life. I'm going to read this now as if I wrote it. I hate admitting this because I know it's me causing all the havoc in my life. Okay. I was grappling just the other day about whether the fact that I'm withdrawing from these closest people in my life, family, friends, acquaintances, that don't understand what I'm doing, was hiding what I had in the ground. I was grappling with whether that was a negative or not. And I was saying, gosh, that's me. I don't like admitting this because I'm the one that's causing this. I could say, hey guys, and I have in the past, almost every single person. I've said, guys, this is what I want to do. Can you see this? Will you help me? Do you think it's worthy? And they're already on all my friends lists and acquaintance lists, and they've all been X'd off. A few of them I've counseled with and talked with, and hopefully they benefited, but it hadn't gone anywhere. Family, eliminated. Friends, close to it. So what I'm saying is, I hate admitting this. I'm getting to the point of hating admitting it. Because when I say this, if anybody watches this, they're going to go, oh. But I'm admitting it. I'm already alone. What have I got to lose? So in sharing what I'm going through, I'm going to then help you when I'm done with this to show you what I'm using for the perspective counseling. I'm going to show you how you already help And I'm going to hopefully show through that how I can help you. My life's falling apart. Guess what? I already told you in something I wrote back to you that this is what my life is about. This is what I'm best at. This is what I believe my life's calling is and what I've meant to do. And I've done it, but in such small ways. The fact that I want to do it more and I can't make it happen, to me, in my perspective, makes me feel as though my life is falling apart. Imagine if those closest in your life, well, your mother died, but imagine if she was here and you couldn't relate to her and she couldn't relate to you. I imagine, since you've been traumatized by your mother dying, that you had a good relationship, or at least cared, or at least she cared back. I can't gain anything from anyone that's close to me, so in my sense of your way of looking at things, I can say the same. My life is falling apart. I'm left on my own. Then you go on to say, I feel like I'm always subconsciously seeking out anything negative in subtle ways that impacts my life tremendously. And then I'm consciously seeing this happen, but do nothing to stop it. That one's a harder one for me to draw a parallel. I don't think I'm seeking out negative things. I'm trying to do good, but I feel alone and isolated as if I'm seeking out negative things because none of it resounds with very many people. So I feel like I'm, in subtle ways, bringing negatives up. Like, say, my best friend, for instance, he'll say, there's nothing to any of this. You need to talk with people as if your greater beliefs don't exist. Just be like them. My long-term life friend doesn't see how that person can help. Throwing in the towel there. Bigger fish to fry. Pay the bills. Take care of things in their life. So I see what I'm trying to do as negative because the people in my life that are being touched by what I'm doing don't see it as positive. So I see that as a negative. So I, in the same way, am seen as negatives. So I'm identifying with you there in that way. It's very hard to deal with, and most don't understand. So I'm constantly in a battle of wanting to do good in the worst way possible, and I just don't know. My life's always been shit, and luck wasn't really on my side. Well, you know what? I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to do the best thing I know how to do, which was give all that I have to anyone that would ask. And it's hard. Who could I say that to that wouldn't look like I had smoke coming out of my ears or something, like something was seriously wrong with me? It's hard. Very few people find themselves this way. Now, a lot of your leaders and gurus and church people and big people and, self-help people and things like this, well, they don't get looked at that way. They succeed in the way of the world because they offer something that can be obtained if certain things are followed. And usually the thing that's obtained is something that is a worldly good. And so there's like a cash exchange between the relationship with that person and what they're going to teach you for the tools to gain. With me, there's no cash exchange. You don't pay, but the only good you finally get is the good you offer yourself through the tools that I know work. So when I say that I'm constantly battling, wanting to do good in the worst way possible, and I just don't know, my life's always been shit. I wouldn't say my life's always been shit, but it can't get where I want it to go, so it's very, very held back. I wouldn't say that's shit, but if I know that I'm capable of so much more and I need so much more, and my glass needs to be that much fuller, then in a way maybe it is kind of shit because I can't get to where it needs to be, and I know it needs to be, so I'm always held back. So in that way, I can't get where I want to go either. That's a real negative in my life. And I try hard to not make it that way. But so far, until I meet people with you that I feel like I'm actually doing something, I do feel driven down into that low place. I do feel held back. I do feel as though I'm not reaching what my potential is for what my life purpose is. And I do feel down and depressed because I'm not reaching what I should be reaching. Believe it or not, you might say my life's fine. No, I'm depressed because I know what more I can do. You wouldn't think that somebody's got their life in balance could be depressed. But a heightened conscious person can. And that's why. So then you go on to say, luck wasn't on your side. I don't believe in luck, personally. But that's just a perspective tool. I can't say, I say I know nothing. If you watch some of my other videos, I don't know anything. I definitely don't believe in luck. So then you go on to say, you had a dream or a vision, per se, that stemmed from being tired and being stuck in between a hard place and a rock. So then you were desperate and you wanted to do something. Okay? And so you made some plans. You had some big plans. You were hopeful about them. But at that exact time, your mother died, and she was going to be involved in some of those plans. All right. I had, just today, just this morning, I said, okay, if this isn't what I use my life to make income, isn't going to be what my life's about, and what I use for my life's purpose to help people isn't panning out to where I'd like it to be and make my life's about, well then it's time for a third thing. And I was going to say, okay, I'm going to throw all this other stuff out. Kind of just give up on it all. And say, let's just do the third thing. And the third thing, big plans. I had always in the back of my mind thought, okay, and my friend kind of said this too, don't do things that aren't successful. Don't do things that are designed only to help. Do things that will do great things. Like, for instance, he wanted me to do video channel guru stuff where I'm not just there to help, but I'm actually providing the incredible things that people will pay for. That ads and commercials and whatnot you'll sit through gladly, because I have something to give you that's of value and worth that the masses of people in the world will know that it's of worth, it's what they're looking for, and they'll gladly come running in larger numbers, and so that will boost me up. So I thought, gee, I can't do it the way I want to do it, giving away and helping. Maybe I should subscribe on to the massive numbers, knowing I still have a way to help, but just mold myself however I need to make it so that that's what I do. So I went over and I looked at monetization options, and I looked at, different people that are doing things like that, and I said to myself, well, if I do this, what am I doing? I'm subscribing to all the systems that they would have set up there that are already serving money and their means and their ways. I'd have to make my life about molding myself so that I can be what they want me to be, pay those dues, and hope that they don't change the terms, because they have before, and become that, and make my life all about that, looking for the big, big people, the big, big picture, to then have enough trickle down to where I can make money on that, and I can make that about my life. And I didn't spend very much time before I started seeing all these barriers, And I see, when I look at something, you've heard of people that look at something and they see colors, or, I see everything through filters that I've created through an ever-growing wisdom or heightened conscious since childhood. And when I see something, I don't just see it for the writing on the page. I see it for what that implicates. I see that for every level of what that means. And I just kept looking. And every single thing was a blockade. Every single thing was me making myself less so that I could be something more, and knowing that if I ever got to the thing that I was going for, that I would have been less. I tell my children, please don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to have failure in the eyes of the world. What you need to do is make sure that you really aren't a failure, even if everybody thinks you are. That's what matters most. And I was looking at these things and I was saying, if I follow these things, I mold myself like this, and I charge for this, and I make myself this in order to be this, and all these different things, I thought to myself, what would I be once I got there? And the answer was, less. It would all be less. So right about then, I went out to breakfast with some people that I knew from where I used to live. I got back, and you were here. And I said, holy mackerel. That's just an answer. That's an answer. The timing is too good. So I'm going to continue to read this thing. You took all the resources that you had when your plans you thought were going to go away because your mother wasn't there any longer and you weren't going to have whatever those plans were. You threw them down the drain, essentially, making the life even more difficult. Well, guess what? If I gave up on what I had that was right and good because those in my life that I reached out to had failed me, guess what I would have done? They didn't die, but to me they died because I wrote them off. What would I have done next? I would have reached out for these new plans that I've been describing to you. I would have reached out and maybe lobbed onto them. No, I wouldn't have, though, because I was already saying no before I even... But I don't know what it would have been, but I would have kept on looking. Maybe something else would have revealed itself. I don't know, because we didn't get there. But what would have happened is I would have essentially made my life worse, too, because I would have taken all the things in my life that are good and are right and are balanced and are able to help and put them away, maybe even shut them off. I've had fleeting notions to just cut this all and just run. And if I had done that, well, then what would have happened? The same thing that you're saying. I took all my resources, shoved them down the drain, and essentially made my life even more difficult in an effort to forget. I would have kind of started on the road towards that. My son went to college. My grandmother died. My grandmother truly loved me. It's rare to find someone that truly loves you. I think my son truly loves me, but that's irrelevant. Let's just talk about this. He went to college. My life's changed a lot because I've got all this extra time. I don't need to serve him now. He's being served by the entity that he's worth being served by, and they're doing it, and he's doing it, and I'm out of the loop. And what if he dies? What if all the things that he's supposed to develop into never come to fruition because he dies? Or what if he goes off in a way that is wasted? A lot of people go to college and they don't find themselves. They waste themselves and waste their last opportunities. What if those things happen? How do I deal with that? Well, right now, I am dealing with a perspective tool right now that will help me if that would happen. If blessings would come, I'd be great and I'd celebrate with him. But if he was the prodigal son, and if he went away, I'm already dealing with tools right now that will help me to deal with that. I, in a daily basis, it's not that I don't care or love, but I forget about him. Because he'll be there or he won't be there. He'll work out or he won't work out. I must be an island and forget about that, regardless of what happens. So I don't think about him. Can you imagine? I hardly ever think about him. My wife tells me when he checks in and stuff like that, but I hardly think about him. I just hope, you know? So essentially what I'm doing is, I'm saying maybe what you need to do is, even though you weren't ready ahead of time with your mother, maybe you need to get to where I'm at now faster than you would have through the perspective I'm offering you. I'm already at a place of solidity because I already, even though he's alive and has positive hope for the future, treat him as if he's dead. I forget about him. So see, if he dies or doesn't amount to what I think would be good, it doesn't affect me other than sorrow. But the me that is, it goes on. And the you that you are, or can be, can go on. I was already a me. I don't have to get to the can be. I can help you get to the can be. But I imagine there's already a you there. And you don't have to get to a can be. You have to use the perspective tools that I'll help you with to see what it is. And let that bump in the road be minimized. I don't mean that you should not love your mother. I don't mean that you should not be devastated by the fact that someone you cared for and that you had plans with isn't in your life anymore. You can still have that. But it shouldn't have to alter who your perspective of yourself is, even if you haven't finished compiling that perspective yet. If you've already got a perspective that's been damaged, I can help you get back to where you were. And if you have a perspective that needs to be emboldened and made larger, I can help you get to where it needs to be for that. But when you get there, remember, you are your own person. I can help you get to where that is again or for the first time. So no matter what happens, you won't be devastated. Now, I've explained to you how I was almost devastated because I was almost saying, I can't get to where I want to go without help from those that I think might love me or care, and then wasn't getting the help. That's almost devastating because it's not only that I thought more of the people when I thought they might help. It's not even that I think less of them now. They're just not qualified. They're not capable. They don't see. I give them the benefit of the doubt. But the truth is, the reality in my life is still the same. And from the people I've left behind, I mean, I've left them behind. I mean, I'm not going to X them out of my life. I just wrote them off forever being supportive. Those people can't help me. So I'm devastated by the fact that I can't get to where I want to be, where my plans were going to take me. I can't get there. There's a blockade in my way. There's a huge chasm. So what do I have to do with my perspective counseling? Thank you for giving me the bolster to come here and give me an opportunity to be who I am again. What do I have to do in the interim with those chasms? If you weren't here, I wasn't talking to you now, what would I have to do? I would have to continue to find a way to tell myself that this perspective I have of this huge chasm in front of me that's just made greater than I even thought it was by those I've reached out to and their inability to help me, I have to give myself the ability to see that from some other angle, some other way, that there's some greater thing. Like say you turn yourself in, maybe I don't get to talk to you for a couple of years, maybe you're in jail, who knows? How do I talk to you then? Will you ever come back? You may never. I said I would continue this even if you didn't come back. But the perspective I would offer you is it does not matter if you have to suffer that difficult time that you're going to be in for, if you turn yourself in and it's a difficult time ahead, or if you avoid that somehow, and we have a chance to have the ability to talk to each other. It doesn't matter, because what I want you to know is that no one can take anything away. It's all a matter of perspective. So what's your end game going to look like? How do you deal with the perspective if your freedoms are taken away? That's what you're going to grapple with. Like my void that I have to get around. Or how do you do it in the absence of your mother and your plan's not working out if you do have your freedom? And still another perspective, you're going to have to look at it a different way. But you are helping me to look at my perspective. But what you're really doing is aiding me. What would I have done if you didn't ask me something? I was at a low right now. What would I have done to that perspective? It's really hard, because when you have nothing, it's hard to work with anything. But when you have something, it's easy. I've asked them for something very small. They've not delivered. I've asked them for the smallest thing that I could think of that I thought would still help. They've not done it. I don't know that they're going to do it. In fact, one is even resisting. I think it's just a moment of weakness, I hope. But what I'm saying is, what would my perspective have to be? I was stuck saying, I wasn't meant to do this then, because I can't make it happen on my own, and those in my life won't help me. I surely wasn't meant to do this then. That's the perspective I'm dealing with. See how hard that is? That's hard. You've got some perspective challenges ahead of you. You might say, what's this guy talking about? This is just a mental thing of where he thinks he should be as opposed to where he is. Well, what else is any perspective? Where you are as opposed to where you want to be is a chasm in front of you. You don't know how to get there. It's the same way. I didn't know how to get there. If something comes of this and you help me more realize that, oh, I don't have to reach that chasm, thank goodness I avoided that. Well, you really hadn't helped, except that I can go on and be beneficial. But the fact that the chasm was there in the first place, shame on those in my life, because they still wear that label. They wouldn't allow me to bridge that gap. They wouldn't do the slightest thing. I hope you guys, if you're listening to this, that you thought better of it. But I'm not going to have to do that if I continue to find aid to be who I need to be without having to bridge that chasm. But there I am, I'm copping out. What would I do if I had to bridge that chasm? Well, I already said I was going to have to start throwing my plans away and saying there must be something else. I must be looking at this in a different way. So right away I started looking. I started reaching out, put my feelers out. I tried to do some research. What else could I do that I could connect with better that would make that chasm not there? Say, okay, I'm not going to go that direction then. I'm going to go another direction. I'm going to go around. I'm going to go around the chasm. I already started looking this morning. I saw a lot of blockades initially that I wasn't willing to accept. But I would have had to keep doing that, and I probably would have been down and feeling alone and isolated the whole time. And I don't know what would have come from it. I may still go down that road. I don't know. But there's no one for me to reach out to help me. But there is someone for you to reach out to help you. I hope I'm making you see our parallels are so strong. Now, why are our parallels so strong? It's not coincidence. Our parallels are only strong because I'm an artist, and I can take what you're saying and I can apply it to my life as an overlay. And I can use analytical thinking and perspective shift counseling that rolls right off the tip of my mind and my tongue. Just like that. I didn't prepare for this. I didn't even know what I was going to say. I'm reading your letter. I'm going to continue reading it. Why are the parallels there? Because we all have our burden we have to deal with. We all have our challenges, our perspective shift that can help with to get us to where we need to go. I don't know where mine would have been next week or tomorrow or next year, but you see that I knew I was going to face it. You're going to face yours, whatever it is, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing, and however we proceed. If we proceed together or apart or not at all, you're going to face it. Nothing's going to change that. We all hold that in. It's a part of the human condition. I was supposed to turn myself in last night and didn't make it on time. I've been up all night, nervous and anxious. Okay, well, we all know what that's like, being nervous and anxious. I've been nervous and anxious too, hoping that I could wake up the next day and have a calling and act it out. You're thinking, this guy's nuts, right? How could he be nervous and anxious that he's not able to help anybody? Well, because that's my whole life. That's my whole purpose, my whole realized purpose, and I can't do it. I'm struggling doing it. So don't you see? My life in front of me, like you started off your letter, is falling apart. It's just a different, a totally different point of view. That's all. So then you were up all night, nervous and anxious, and here's the part I like. Thinking about senseless crap. Every once in a while I hear myself saying in my head, "You need help!" You fucking loser. But normally, you just ignore it. But for some reason, this time, you didn't. I don't know how you found me. Maybe you looked up one of the videos. Maybe you just renewed my Craigslist ad the other day. Maybe you saw that. Maybe you said, who offers free counseling? I don't have any money, but I'd like to talk to somebody. Maybe you found me that way. I don't know, because we hadn't had a chance to talk yet. But, well, lucky if it is, because I just renewed it the other day. Sometimes I let that lax. Let that go lag for a while. If that's how you found me, then good for us. But you felt low. You felt low, that you were a loser. And only then, at your lowest time, sleep deprived, nervous, anxious, worried, did you reach out? But you did reach out. If you ever watch some of my other videos, you'll find that one of the things I find that is the biggest thing a person could possibly do is realize that they can use any help. Hi, I had to answer the phone again. That was my daughter. She's on early day, and I got to pick her up from the bus. But I have more time still to finish this up. So one of the things that I say is, good for you. I mean, bad. I mean, you had to feel you're at a low point in order to say you need something. But whatever it was, you broke through and you said, I want somebody. That one act touched another person's life. You cannot realize that because of that low point in your life, you helped me to rise up to another day of challenges and help myself with my perspective because you gave me the chance to be there for you. That's how meaningful that is. I know you must think I'm a guy from an alien from another land or something, but if you watch the success video, it's just a few further down on this page, you'll see that I spoke with that person in the same way. This is what success is, in my point of view. So here you say now, you reached out, thank goodness. I mean, now you're going to be turning yourself in a couple hours, and I have not heard back from you. And let me just check and see if this is you. No, it's not. So I've not heard back from you. I hope I do hear back from you. I hope that everything's going to be okay, and whatever it is, it's not so serious that you can't get past it in a way that's conducive to a closer way to that you'd like to have it be. It might be, I'm not going to say that you can't get past anything. You can get past anything, but some things are more workable to someone than others. It could be very serious. It might take a lot of effort to get. It's just like Luke in Star Wars. You know, second, I think it was the second one. He didn't think he could lift more than just the lightsaber. He didn't think he could lift the X-wing. He thought it was just too much. If you go to jail, if you have some bigger thing to get past, you can still use perspective counseling to get past it. It's not heavier, it just seems heavier. The same tools work. The infinite small, the infinite large. The same tools work, just like the lightsaber is no heavier than the X-wing. It's irrelevant. Now, I know we're talking fantasy there. I'm just using it as an illustration. But conscious counseling works in the same way. So I just hope it's one of the easier ones for you, because a person that doesn't yet believe, like Luke didn't believe, would have a tendency to feel as though, oh, I can handle this. Especially if I'm going to talk with Paul, and together, you know, we'll handle it. I hope that it's a way that it can come to you more easily like that. So then you go on and you say, I need some real help, and I'm severely lacking funds and resources. Well, that's a no-brainer, because thank goodness I'm here, and that's what I live for. And thank goodness I didn't throw in the towel. You can't afford to feed your dogs out of low paying for some type of therapy. I don't know that you necessarily need therapy. I don't know that I call perspective shift counseling even therapy. I hope that it's so pure and so of the essence of truth, or a truth, or an essence of a full fabric of the universe truth, that just the mentioning of it, just the taking and giving you hope, is enough to make you see that you can do something. Just hang on a second, I got lost here. So it's made it sound like you might be gone. Some type of therapy. I don't look at it as a therapy, just a suggestion of, did you think of this? I can help you with this. I know this works. Let me compare my life with this. Just a suggestion of that. I'm hoping that you'll know that that's not therapy. It's, I knew this existed. I've done it. I bet you didn't know. Go, no problem. Because since I know, I can help. So I don't know that it's therapy. It's just me sharing something that might not have occurred, that I know how to use like the back of my hand. It's not really a therapy. It's just hey, give me your hand. I'll lift you up. I'll show you what I show you, that it works for me, and I know it'll work for you too, whatever your circumstance is. That's why I'm going over this letter with you, to show you that it's just a mirror. You can anybody else can put themselves into this. You couldn't afford therapy. You're a loner type due to people and their lack of intelligence. Oh gosh, the mentality. Oh my gosh, the mentality today. I wonder if it's been like this all the years through civilization. But yeah, it's low. Oh my gosh, it's so low, and I believe it's getting worse, because people are finding new ways to titilize themselves and to make their sensibilities duller, and to think that everything's right in front of them, when it's really not. It's just a bunch of crap. Very few things that we put in front of ourselves have any worth or value. We run towards whatever will take us away and nullify what our thoughts and sensibilities that we should have and we should be focused on are. And the more things there is like that, the more we prolong realizing that we're not having anything of substance in front of us. And that can be a problem. Okay, here you are. You're commenting right now. Let me read the comment. All right, Sean, you say you were at court dealing with the missed appearance. Ooh, I know that can be bad. I've seen that's bad. Won't be available after 1:30 due to court, and won't be till they release me. I'm 27. I'm not going to hurt myself, and I'm well aware of what's going on, and I would hope to think anyways. I just need a chance, because I know I'm wasting away. And sooner rather than later, I'll be someone with nothing and always struggling, and don't want that. I have a little family, and they just keep dying on me, and the older I get, the harder it is. Even harder, and want, let me just type in my reply right now. Doing your video live as we speak. We'll have up soon. Please hold on and stay in touch. Already been talking for, I don't know, over a half hour. We'll edit video and place it up soon. You have a friend. Count on that. All right. So anyway, I just wrote back to you, Sean. I'm not going to interrupt what I'm doing because I wasn't finished with your letter, and I want to continue on. I hope I don't have any typos here. I'm just gonna press the button on this and then finish your letter here that you have. Make sure I proofread it. It looks good enough. All right, and then I'm going to finish this letter first before going. Wasted a ton of money this year since February, and even more stolen from me and just straight used. I didn't want any that did. I thought it was the best in me. So, you know, wondering what the fuck I did. How I destroyed my life. I don't know. It's tough. Tired of going from having a home to living in my car. It seems like it's happening in a cycle every year. Ugh, I'm sorry. There's just so much. This is barely the tip of the iceberg in what people consider life. We'll talk soon with the video I am making. And I'll say thank you for the input so that you know that I'm actually going to be aware of this as I'm speaking with you. I'll just leave this in unedited. When I say edited, basically I'm going to probably edit it because I have to edit it because I was interrupted on the phone twice. Also, I have to edit it because I have to run it out in a version that can be on here. I think when it comes right off the phone, it's way too big. It's too large of a file. So I'm going to run it through. Let's go ahead and finish reading the letter that I just was reading. We'll finish up with that, and we'll stop the video for today so I can get this out to you because I got to pick my daughter up, and then I got to put this into the, where is it? Here it is. I got to put it into the web format. I got to put it into the video editing thing and run it out through web format. Okay. So then you continue to go on, and you say people are lacking in intelligence, and they have selfish ways, serving the world, the things of the world. Sometimes it's not selfish. Sometimes it's they don't understand. I genuinely want to believe that my friends just don't understand. I don't want to call them selfish. I mean, I've known them all my life. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that it's just that they don't understand. But yeah, there are people with selfish ways. And so you're afraid to reach out, and you're afraid that you only have so many more chances in life before you eventually feel worthless and just too lost to ever find your way again. Well, I'm glad that right now you say you still feel like you could find your way again. That's hope springs eternal, and I'm glad because you didn't say I already can't. I mean, you're reaching out. I'm glad that you think you can find hope right now. You might be on your last, in your perspective, you might be on your last time or chance to have this hope, but at least you have it now. Thank goodness. And then I already talked about this in the video. Thanks, guys. No, like right now, it's just thank guy. Hopefully to be guys, because they're all aware. They're all aware, and I'm going to make them aware of it. But right now, they just don't know what to do. But anyway, thanks, guys. If I don't get a response, thanks for letting me vent. Well, don't worry. You're going to get a response. I'm going to be here as long as you need me to be, in this capacity at least, which is the generic capacity. Which is the ability to let me help in this way to anybody that would be interested in being helped. Something is better than nothing. I'm going to give everything I possibly can. And you took the time to put the heart on there. I think that's nice. I am just thankful that I can be here. I am thankful that you need me to be here and allow me to be who I am so that I can be there. Now, well, I got to make something happen. I've got to help. I've got to see that my tools that I have can benefit you. You got to do it. I'll help you. I hope the way I've structured this video, comparing and mirroring my life to your words, is already a start. The mere suggestion that the tools exist, and that's what I draw from, so that I know they're real and genuine because I've done it already, I hope that that helps suggest something to you. I hope that what I can do today, if nothing more, even though there's many more things I'm sure we can talk about when we get into details, it's not about the details. There are millions of people like you and me that have problems that these tools work with, no matter what the details are. Now, I say that because I've used them. I demonstrated how I'm going through times right now where I'm using them even. I got the burner on high right now. And I wasn't sure how I was going to use them. But I can go back to where I already was because I was already using them. I couldn't prove to anyone else that there was any value. I don't say anyone else. I've counseled with people in the past that have heard what I've said, and I think they've gained benefit from it. But I couldn't prove to anyone else that I spend my daily life with that there's value to these things. And so what does that do? I have to reinvigorate my own belief in self-worth so that I can go on another day. Because if those that know you the best don't see what you're even saying, sometimes it makes me think, well, then how can I help someone that doesn't even know me? And it makes me call into question whether can anybody else be helped? So it makes me think, I got interrupted again by another robocall, I believe it was. Makes me think, well, can I be sure that these tools and perspectives that I know have helped me, can they be used for another person? Would another person be willing to implement them? Would another person be willing, through the tools that I use, to help you see that I'm using these tools, to at least make you think there's something to them so that you'll want to at least try to implement them? So that right now we're at the stage where all I'm trying to do is get you to see that there's some value to my ability to relate to where you are in my own personal life, and that I've spent my life developing these tools that I use to help me with these things, and I'm trying to parallel your world to make you see that yours is not unlike mine. It's the circumstances are different. They might seem dire to you, but in my opinion, my world seems as dire to me as yours does to you right now. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with that right now. I'm going to get this edited and put this out there for you so that you can get it at a real time today and analyze it and think about it. And then get back with me. Tell me what I've said that makes sense. Tell me what I've said that you need more consideration on. We can talk about the details in your life if you want to. But tell me what it is that you'd like me to elaborate on more. Would you like me to continue to draw comparisons between the two of us so that we can share closely what we're going through so that you can benefit and know that I'm there on the same page with you? Or would you like me to immerse myself in your world and just deal with the ins and outs and the details of what you're finding in your world? Give me a few pointers, like what direction you'd like me to take like that, and I'll do what I can to do that. So let's end this right here. I will be with you. I live for the ability to have the ability to help you. And thank you for asking. And I wish you, how do I want to phrase this? I wish that whatever it was that gave you the calling to reach out and want to do something, I wish that that continue long enough to make it happen. And I wish that you'll be with me long enough that I can help you to know that you'll have someone there on that path while you're trying to make it happen. All right, I'll get this out and we'll talk soon, hopefully.